Buffalo Bills, you heard me talk about them a little bit earlier in the week after they beat the Tennessee Titans at home last week. I did make an apology about Sean McDermott. I was a little harsh on him the beginning in the year, but I've got nothing for respect for him, and I thought it'd be great if we talk to somebody who covers the Buffalo Bills every day, and I couldn't think of anybody better than Sean Murphy, Buffalo Rumblings, SB Nation. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline. And Sean, thanks for taking a few minutes out and talking with us today.
Oh, no problem, Joe. Thanks for having me.
All right, so the reason I apologized about Sean McDermott is I said there's no way in this NFL that a defensive-minded head coach with a rookie quarterback, high draft pick, was ever going to be successful in this league. And then there you go. You rattle off 2 damn victories that, you only throw for 82 yards. And then it hit me as I'm looking at the tape and I'm watching these games. I'm going, this is a very well-coached team. And there's no substitute for coaching. And make no mistake about it, the reason Buffalo has 2 wins after they've never been favored by less than they've always been underdogs by 8 or more points in every game this year, including the one coming up against Houston. But you don't win 2 games when you're that big an underdog without being very well coached. So what do you guys see covering the Buffalo Bills? Am I wrong here, or is he actually proving and your offensive coordinator proving they're pretty good coaches?
No, I think especially with regard to McDermott, you're 100% right. He's his defensive system really is predicated on discipline and showing a lot of attack mode. Whether they actually attack out of it or not. He's a disciple of that Jim Johnson, the former Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator, school of thought where you're going to sugar or double A-cap that center, and then it causes a lot of havoc up front, whether they're bringing 6 guys or 4. So he's been able to create a lot of confusion with other offenses. Regarding Buffalo's offense, like you said, it's kind of a throwback to the 1950s. It's handoff left, handoff right, and hope that you're in 3rd and 3 so that you can hand it off up the middle again. But watching 2 quarterbacks, because even Allen threw for 82, I don't think Mariota broke 130 on Sunday. So that was a low-octane offensive game for sure between those 2.
Yeah, and listen, there's only so much you can do. You're kind of handcuffed right now. It is the least talented team, if not the least talented team in the NFL. We know this. Certainly no weapons for the rookie quarterback, Josh Allen. Offensive line, suspect at best. The defense is what's pushing this engine and pushing this team. But all of a sudden this week, we hear Philadelphia is in dire need of a running back. They pick up the phone. They call Buffalo. Your handoff left, handoff right. Your workhorse, LaShawn McCoy, is all of a sudden now up for grabs. What is the latest on that? What have you heard regarding LaShawn McCoy?
Well, McDermott, he was asked about it yesterday, and actually he wasn't even asked yet. He jumped right on it, and he said that there are incoming calls all the time on players, and he would neither confirm nor deny that McCoy had been discussed. All he would say is that LaShawn is obviously one of Buffalo's better players. You could make the argument that he is their best player and really the only player on offense who other teams would be interested in taking. Like you said, it's McCoy and a whole bunch of guys who you look at and say, who's that on the offensive roster? They don't have a whole bunch going on, but my gut, based on what they're saying and how they're talking, is I don't see them moving him. I think it's more just routine Phillies checking in. The rumor was, I think it came from Ian Rappaport, that it was a 2nd and a 3rd round pick that Buffalo was demanding if they were to move McCoy, which I don't think Philadelphia would pay. So I have a funny feeling this is going to be much ado about nothing.
Sean Murphy joining us, SB Nation, Buffalo Rumblings. He covers the Buffalo Bills, who are very, very interesting this year, to say the least. And as for all their shortcomings on the offense, it's still not a defensive team that you want to take on anytime soon. And I think it's going to be a very interesting game on the road in Houston this weekend, where they're once again 8.5-point underdogs, but don't sleep on that defense there. And now you went ahead ahead and brought in a quarterback that has got some history with your head coach there, and Derek Anderson is now on the team, and you've got a lot of people saying, get him up to speed and get him starting. What do you say about taking out Josh Allen at this point?
I think that's crazy. I know that Allen has struggled, but I think just about the worst thing you could do for a kid, because let's be realistic. Everyone knew that of all of the quarterbacks who were projected to be selected in the first round, Allen was easily the most raw. You could argue maybe Lamar Jackson, but Allen was considered to be a raw prospect. He comes out, he's a starter. He's struggling big time. But I think one of the worst things you could do is just pull him back and start playing this in the lineup, outside of the lineup game with a guy like Anderson. Bill's coaches have done the same thing in the past. J.P. Losman was in the lineup, and then Kelly Holcomb played, and then it was Losman again, and then it was Holcomb, and then it was Trent Edwards. So we stunted his growth there. Even more recently with E.J. Manuel, you had a guy who started 10 games, 11 games, and they gave him the quick hook for Kyle Orton. The difference was that both of those guys were in situations where their head coach needed to win and win quickly in order to save his job. I don't think that McDermott is under that same kind of pressure. I think that they're willing to trust in the process that he preaches every day. And they're just going to let Allen take his lumps and hope that next year is year 2 Jared Goff as opposed to what we're seeing this year.
Well, and listen, the Jets had a very similar situation there. They got their rookie quarterback. They've got their guy, but
Absolutely.
It certainly helps to have that veteran presence in there. He comes off the field, and, who's he talking to right now on the sideline? So it can't be Nathan Peterman, because Peterman looks like a deer caught in a headlight. So I love the move, but I think people need to slow down with nobody's expecting the Buffalo Bills to make the playoffs this year. I don't think, like you said, Sean McDermott's job is on the line this year, but you got to let him take his lumps, and hopefully you don't get him killed along the way. But not as all lost with this team, especially when it comes to rookies. You got a pretty impressive rookie slot corner, man, that is opening up a lot of eyes this year. Talk to me about Tyron Johnson.
Yeah, no, he's been outstanding. I think I saw a stat tweeted out today that he leads the league in quarterback rating against, and the lowest completion percentage against out of all defensive backs, which we knew that he was going to be a tough kid, and we knew that he'd have the opportunity to compete in there. But that shocked all of us at how well he's performed. And just week to week watching him grow, he's been really a shutdown corner in the middle of the field, which was not the expectation of a rookie 4th-round draft pick.
It really has. He's been doing great, and he's another one of those weapons that if you give a coach like Sean McDermott the ability to be able to utilize these guys, and really what it's come down to this year with the Buffalo Bills is what every great coach has in common is they put their players in a position to be successful. And if nothing else,
Absolutely.
That is exactly what Sean McDermott is doing with this defense. It's not the most talented. It's not the biggest, not the strongest, not the fastest, but I'll be damned if each and every week these guys aren't in a position to be very successful.
Yes, there are a few guys. I mean, Matt Milano, for example, one of the starting linebackers, who's a second-year player, 5th-round draft pick out of Boston College, undersized, which is funny for me to say a guy that's 6'2" and 230 pounds is undersized. But he's sitting there, and people overlooked him. He had 10 tackles last week. He's been all over the field. Tremaine Edmonds is 20 years old, the rookie starting middle linebacker, who's just, if you watch him make breaks on balls in the air, and he's so fast. He's like a missile in the middle of the field. So they're doing a nice job with a bunch of young kids. They've got some great veteran leadership there in Kyle Williams and Lorenzo Alexander. So it's a nice mixture there that they have going on. And that defense, I agree with you. I think it's one of those units that as the year progresses and they become more comfortable in the system, you're really going to see them even take another step further.
What do you want to see this weekend? I mean, it's so important, especially with a young team, inexperienced team. It's so important to be able to continue to move forward. Whether you win or where you lose, you've got to take some steps forward into getting better. So what is it, Sean, that you want to see from the Buffalo Bills on the road in Houston this weekend?
Oh, I'm greedy. I want to see him win 30-0,
Yes.
and Allen throw for 400 yards, and that's what I want to see. I want my cake, and I want to eat it too. But if as they go, you're right. I mean, you just want to see the defense that has, ever since Vontae Davis decided to hang him up at halftime, that they've only allowed 43 points in the 14 quarters since he retired. You'd like to see them continue and go ahead and shut down a really talented young quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who's got some great weapons over there, and DeAndre Hopkins, Kiki Kuti, and Will Fuller V. You'd also like to see Allen come out and just be more, I don't even know what the word is for it, just be more decisive in his reads, be more accurate in his throws. I do. I want to see them do all those things and come out with a win. So it's the life of a Bills fan. It's the roller coaster. We ride it.
Amen to that. Sean Murphy, Buffalo Rumblings, SB Nation. What grade would you give first-year offensive coordinator Brian Daboll at this point? I mean, you got a rookie quarterback. You've got a rookie offensive coordinator there. I mean, so what kind of grade would you give him thus far? Is he doing the best with what he's got? Really? Is that how we can say it?
Yeah, I'm going to cop out here as take the high school English teacher mode that I am here and go. I'm going to give him an incomplete as of now.
Okay.
Because I see him handcuffed. He's got a rookie who he can't really do everything he wants to do. He's got an offensive line that is protecting better than expected, but Allen has taken more sacks than any quarterback in the league. He's been sacked 19 times so far. He's really throwing to a mishmash of wideouts who aren't quite getting the job done, to put it politely. I'm going to give him an incomplete in year one so far. I've seen glimmers. I've seen them, do creative things with bubble screens and with play action and be aggressive in situations where past offensive coordinators might have just gone 3 handoffs and a punt. Last week, Allen threw an interception in the fourth quarter in one of those situations. I loved the play call, but Allen threw a strike, hit a wide receiver, Andre Holmes, right in the chest. He couldn't corral it. It popped straight up in the air, and the ball was picked off. So there's things where I think Daboll is making the right decisions, but the talent on the field doesn't necessarily back up what he's deciding to do.
Well, in Andre Holmes' in his defense, he is 105, so it is kind of hard to focus on the ball when it's thrown at you in that direction. All right, Sean Murphy, awesome stuff, man. Make sure you guys check him out. You Bills Mafia, you Bills fan. No better information, no better coverage than at SB Nation, Buffalo Rumblings. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter. Make sure you check him out at SB Nation. And, Sean, thanks for taking a couple of minutes, hanging out, getting us updated on what's going on in Buffalo Bills world, and I look forward to doing this again, my friend.
Likewise. Thanks a bunch.